impressively dripping in black beauty, elaborately infused with melanin, and extravagantly bathed in chocolate. Today I lost $1,064.32. Now, how exactly did you manage to do that? My mic is loose. This is exactly what I did to lose all that money. I was an idiot. And let's go into the replay mode. So what exactly happened? What exactly did I see? What exactly took place? What exactly happened? This is my exact outlook going into the day. Going into the day, it was simple. It was easy. It looked beautiful. I saw my 1 hour right here. And I saw accumulation, voila, and then I wanted to see manipulation and distribution, right? I was a little confused because ES and NQ are mad uncorrelated, huz. The 1 hour intermediate high, London high right here. Well, picture this, jackass. How about the 1 hour, the London high is like literally right here? And it's just, what? Constant SMTs for like 2 hours? No. I was really confused because, look, ES obviously looking bullish. Looks like we're respecting larger PD arrays, right? Barely in versus 4 hour, but then like low key respecting other levels. A little bit confused. Not going to hold you. Kind of making our way up. But honestly, this doesn't even make sense because we inverse the 4 hour, so we should be expecting to go down. I made a lot of party fouls today, bro, and I'm not just saying that, okay? We learn, we live, we continue going on in the day. But I saw accumulation, manipulation, distribution. I saw that we had the 1 hour intermediate highs during London session. It looked beautiful. Here it is, marked out. Obvious downtrend. But what did I see? Well, on the 4 hour, I saw that we were inside of a 4 hour fair value gap. And then we had this large external 4 hour draw right here. And this is where I made another mistake, right? This should look beautiful, correct? Yes, bro. Stack low. Try another stack low. Try a 6 stack low. Bro, I had a bajillion stack lows, but what I saw in the moment doing my daily bias, which could have been caused by, there's retardation that runs in my family, literally, and that's a fact, YouTube. I thought maybe I had some retardation going on, bro. But I saw this 4 hour intermediate low, this 1 hour, 4 hour intermediate low, whatever. It's a 1 hour and a 4 hour. And I said, okay, if we sweep this level, I can see a reaction. Now, why is this a fallacy? The reason why this is a fallacy is because we're obviously bearish, especially on the 1 hour trend. It is a 4 hour intermediate high, but what would we be targeting after we sweep this level? We would be sweeping a 1 hour intermediate low, targeting high resistance, London manipulation, New York continuation daily profile. And you might be asking, what is that? Well, let's say there's a fair value gap right here. If London session sweeps into this, we create a London high. We do not expect New York session to re-manipulate. We would not expect that. We would expect price to hit another PD array within this gap, say a fair value gap, and let's say this was a bearish fair value gap marked in red. We would expect New York session to, yes, manipulate higher, right? An open, high, low, close. This is true, but we would not expect us to remanipulate London high because that's already a protected high via this fair value gap. I think that makes sense, but I didn't do it today because I saw accumulation, manipulation to a 4 hour intermediate low and then targeting the high. I really wasn't even thinking going into the day. It's actually kind of embarrassing to even think about, but anyways, we delete this, we move on, we continue. So what happens going into the day? No way, bro. No way. My markings are messed up. So we have this right here. Let me put all this shit at 10 real quick. And this is exactly what I saw, bro. Going into the 1 minute, we have 9:29, 9:30 opens. And what do? We rip up and we hit a 15-minute intermediate high. This looked beautiful right here. 15-minute fair value gap. Pardon my correction. It looked beautiful, bro. I'm going to be honest, but we didn't really get a valid short. I mean, we kind of did. We hit the 15-minute fair value gap, obviously, but I was bullish, so I didn't want to take shorts, right? I don't know why I was bullish because it makes no sense. Otherwise, I'm low-key ripping this. I probably would have ripped the 30-second based off of this CISD entry. This doesn't really mean much to me. Although, because it didn't really manipulate into anything and we have an easy draw below. So if you were to ask me, I'd probably go right here and then I just go for an easy 1-to-1 if I was to go back in time, bro, because honestly, this trade did look juicy, and it smashes TP. Of course it does. Of course it does. And then I saw this, also good 30-second, but I wasn't confident in this, right? Although we had a 5-minute, like literally, I don't even know what I was thinking going into the day. I played this day horribly, right? I could have entered right here, but I didn't like the closure of this candle, right? I wanted something stronger, and I said, if it plays out, well, then at least I'll get, I can take a 5-minute IFVG. So then I took the 5-minute IFVG that literally everybody and their mother is making fun of online. Hit the boom on the soundboard. I put this right here. I really like that we swept this 4-hour intermediate low, also a 1-hour intermediate low. We tapped into this rejection block, which I don't really do, but I used it for my stop loss placement, which is valid stop loss placement. I think this is valid. 63 points of wiggle room, and based off this rejection block, this low should be protected. So I do think that is good. I do think I need to begin maximizing my wins more. That way, because like in June, I did amazing, right? And I've only taken one trade this month in July, but in June, I did amazing. But all my trades were 1.0 RR. So I do want to do that. But I targeted this right here, little 2.43 RR. I actually had a really good fill. So it was something like this. And then I got my back blown out, right? So this looks good on the low time frame and the mid time frame, but there's an SMT right here, which is no bueno, como te llamas. And then this is high resistance, London manipulation, New York continuation, reversal. I hit the 15-minute right here. I should have taken this trade. Instantly got my back blown out, and then we dumped for the day. Why did we dump for the day? For the exact reasons we mentioned. There's a bunch of stacked lows, right? I was under the impression that this low right here was high resistance. Why did I think it was high resistance? Because I thought it was in a daily gap, but turns out it actually was not. So really just party fouls, crazy bad read of the market today, really bad everything. Definitely not my normal trading. We're obviously bearish. All right, we're just manipulating. We closed through this. I thought this was high resistance. I really like this bullish move up. I thought we could continue that, or at least get a reaction off the 1-hour intermediate low because of this manipulation or accumulation manipulation distribution, which is low-key valid if it was with the high time frame, which is what I have to keep remembering. I know this is not me. This is not my style, not my tech. I'm a much better trader than this. Low-key, something got to me. I think what really got to me, to be honest, was just the ES and NQ being completely uncorrelated, which is brutal. I think this was a valid fade day based off of my model, at least. I mean, you could take a discretionary trade or something like that, but there was no cons or anything, minus that 15-minute, which honestly looked, or the 30-second, which looked really good, bro. I'm not going to hold you. I did like the 15-second that was right here. This with the CISD dump, super high resistance high that I ended up targeting later on, just targeting a bunch of high resistance draws. It makes absolutely no sense, but it is what it is. So we continue, we live, we learn. Really, the only thing that I learned today was the following, actually. I actually listed everything out. And this should be good. So I got this right here. We'll go on the 5-minute so you can see it a little bit easier. And this is kind of my consensus right after my trade. So I'll go over this real quick. The lessons. If the assets are uncorrelated, look for cons only, right? You need so much proof. The market needs to give you so much proof in order for you to take a trade. This is true. In order for you to take a trade, especially when assets are uncorrelated, if the draw isn't clear. And then to ensure your daily bias is correct, never let the structure outside of the high time frame affect your opinion. I didn't look at the daily stacked lows. I thought there was high resistance below us, and then I used the AMD model to validify targeting high resistance, which is not okay. I didn't want to miss out on the move, so I didn't wait for a count here, and I got my back blown out because of it. This whittles down to impatience in the markets, incorrect daily bias, targeting high resistance. I mean, it's simple. The more I think about it, I let the AMD structure override the high time frame, which was bearish from the 1-hour structure, the London manipulation daily profile, and the high time frame LRL below, none of which I saw. My trade targeted high resistance was during a time when the assets were uncorrelated. Again, I looked super good on paper and on the mid time frame, but without the clear narrative and correlation, a trade like this should not have been taken. I looked at the 1-hour without considering the 4-hour and daily stack lows below me, and didn't have a proper grasp of the narrative. Doing this is hard while not having correlation, but it's exactly why I need to be more picky. So what I needed to do was realize that we were uncorrelated in the morning and be super safe because of that. After deciding to be super safe, what I needed to do was read the bias correctly. That's all I needed to do. Anyways, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I lost $1,000 today, but we come back tomorrow. I'm much better than this. I need to go back to my OG checklist of what is a daily profile? What are we respecting versus disrespecting? What are the available DOLs? We had no available DLs below, all the DOLs above. We had the daily profile. We had the fair value gap. We had the tap. It was something crazy. So you live, you learn. Don't target high resistance, y'all. Go with the trend. If you can't find the trend, then just take sponsored cons only and see what happens, bro. I need to get better at reading my daily bias, which I'm normally really good at. But today was just a screwball day because I don't know what. I was at my job. I was at my 9 to 5 and I fricked up, bro. I'll be honest. Not a good trade. It looked good on the low time frame, right? Because it looked like there was LRL. It looked like we had a high resistance stop loss right here. It looked like we went out of the rejection block perfectly. It looked like we had good displacement. It looked like we had valid draws with the 4-hour unmitigated fair value gap above. But this was not true. This was not the case, right? So we live, we learn, we twerk every day. We turn the lights off. We sleep with the lights on. Could have taken this trade right here with the resweep and the really good displacement. Could have taken this 30-second short, but instead I took the 5-minute long of doom and despair and disgrace. And I disgraced the doom, the trade of disgrace, bro. But we live, we learn. I got to go with the high time frame trend. I have to read it correctly. Honestly, I know I'm good at trading, but I let the uncorrelated assets in the morning completely derail my views on the market. And I have to, one, prioritize NQ. If ES doesn't match that, then I take sponsored cons. And that's all I got to do. More journaling to be done. Love y'all. Peace.